So one of the things I wanted to ask you is how did you, because so as a business you used to be a jeweller.
Yeah.
How did you go from that to being into like the gardening?
Well, I always gardened. I've always gardened since I was a boy. And I didn't particularly enjoy it, although I did a lot of it because I had to. We had a big garden. And my parents, I had press ganged us all. I mean, I've got two brothers, and we all of us had to do it. I wasn't particularly singled out. It was just something we absolutely had to do. And that it progressed. I mean, it was mainly things like mowing the lawn and clipping the edges and that sort of stuff. But there was also a certain amount of, if we worked in the herbaceous border, I grew a lot of vegetables, and I enjoyed that. So by the time I was about 17, 18, I was starting to work in other people's gardens because I could do it. I knew how to do it. But because it was something I grew up with, I never thought of it as anything special. I mean, I knew how to do it in the same way as I could make my bed or do the washing up. It just really didn't seem special. And then when I was at university, I helped pay my way by going to work in gardens. But I never saw it as my main job.
Right, okay.
It was something that I did privately and was able to earn a bit of money doing.
Yeah.
And I also worked on farms and I worked on building sites, so it was all in that category. And to be honest, my parents wanted me to be an architect, or a lawyer. They certainly would have been horrified if I had said I was going to be a gardener. They would have seen it as a waste of an education, which is a real shame. But there they are. Yeah. I mean, that was, in some ways, I wish I had studied gardening and done it. And then when I met Sarah, we both had a shared love of gardening. So when we set up home together in 1979, we made a garden. And that was our pride and joy, even though we were running a jewellery business. And so that's what we did at evenings and weekends. Okay. So in the early 80s, I would be sort of working with Boy George and Annie Lennox and Michael Jackson and all these people, and then going home and gardening.
Right.
And it was, of course, no one else was doing that. So it wasn't really something I shared with other people. It was enough I did it with Sarah, and we had a nice garden, and we loved it. And it was but I treated it in the same way as we like shopping for food and cooking.
Yeah.
It was the same. It was part of our lives rather than our jobs. And then one day, Elle magazine. This is a very long answer, I'm afraid. But Elle magazine came round to do a lifestyle feature because we were groovy young jewellery designers. We were moderately well known, and on our house. And they looked out the window and said, "God, that garden's nice. Where did that happen? How did that come about?" And I said, "Well, we did it. I did it." So they took a big picture of the garden, and it was in Elle magazine. And the press picked up on it, and then I remember the Evening Standard came and did an article, and the Daily Express, and the Daily Mail, and the Telegraph, and all these people came to our garden because there were no 20-somethings back in the 80s gardening.
Right, okay.
It was really unusual. It was a news story that was happening. And then I got asked to write about other people's gardens, which I did, and I enjoyed doing. And then I got rung up by This Morning with Rich and Judy, saying would I come and do a screen test to do gardening, because I was young and I was they were reading about me in the papers, gardening, and they wanted someone different. I didn't,
You were like the cool kid.
Yeah. And so I did it, and obviously I was good enough to do it again, and that's how it all began.
Right, okay.
So it was a private passion that became my job.